all the in-betweens, probably the life cycle and the likes. So we're going to be very fast because of the time that has been spent on the technicalities. So Yemi, just next slide, please. So this is
Okay.
funny because I'm going to be screaming next slide, next slide. And yeah, next one. Next one after that again.
I should move on because I see
Yes,
people dancing.
we can't. There's no time for this anymore.
It is well.
Yes, I've spoken about Imeyreach and what we do, and how to reach out to us. And simply go to the website imeyreach.org.ng, and you can always chat with us. We're open to having more volunteers for different things that we do. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Just a brief introduction about your facilitator. I call myself a product consultant. I'm a Nigerian, and in this day now that we need to say whether indigenous, Lagosian or not. I grew up in Lagos, studied information technology, and I've had experiences in banking, the in fintech, and managing projects, government projects, and also projects for charities as well. And I always choose dogs over cats. And then also, what is not here is I think my recent hobby is to grill anything, chicken, fish, and so on. Next slide, please. I have a co-presenter here. I didn't have enough time to put up his picture, but in case you hear any sound from here, you know it's my co-presenter. His name is Andre. And also, aside from here, I'm also a member of the Tech for Good Alliance, and we also help in creating and helping NGOs and non-profit organizations build anything they want to build, as long as it relates to products. And just to give a brief, I think my recent certification would be PSM1, which is Professional Scrum Master, and which would have been a certification. If you are going to be a Scrum Master, you would have needed that. There are other certifications as well: Scrum Master, CSM, PSPO, CSPO, and others. Next, please. And diving straight in today, yes, what we try to during this session, if you have a question, please just nudge by raising your hands. Please let's all try to mute when not talking. Let's be kind. Everybody has an opinion. Let's be kind to one another, not just the facilitator. And I encourage everybody to participate so you can get most out of this. If you have questions, you can also drop it. I already got one question, which I said I'm going to be attending to in the course of the class. And moving on, please. Next slide. So here, next one, please. I already talked about this as well. Next slide. I already talked about all the product management. Why do you want to do product management and the skills you require? And in simple terms, what is product management? We're out of time. I mean, we're short of time, so that's why we might not dwell on this topic, simpler topic so much. I'm just going to run through them quickly. And in simple terms, product management, managing a product, and that's basically it. But then, because a product is not just an item, we would say it is managing the life cycle of a product. And what do we mean by that? For everything you do, whether it's an outcome or it's a service or a specific item, it goes through a journey, through a phase, either from developing it to the point where you get to sell it or the point where you get to use it. It's all a journey. And in product management, we call it a cycle because you need to go through phases. You get to ideate, you get to develop, you get to do research, and And you before you get to sell, your product gets to the market, it gets to a level, and then it gets to decline. And as a product manager, you are required to wear different hats at different times. And sometimes some people call the head of products or product managers the mini CEO, because you basically get to determine a lot of things. Well, that is the expectation in real life. You have information on what the product is and what the product is meant to do. The vision is meant to be yours, basically. And next slide. Why product management? 1 second, please. One second, please. Close this. And then while I this, I want to use this opportunity to wish all the mothers in the house happy Mother's Day. I just remember that I did a presentation on that. I did a mini slide on that, so it came to my head. And so, Yemi, I dropped something for you. So while we are going, you can switch. Well, please check that it has something on Happy Mother's Day. I did something inside there. I know I should have talked about that already by now. So let me check the slide. And so why product management? I tell people that anybody can be a product manager. Anybody. In the course of our day to day, you get to realize that one way or the other, you're managing something. And I like food these days because I think I picked up interest in grilling these days. So I love to spend some time in the kitchen now, and thanks to work from home as well. And your food is a product, and it goes through phases. And from the point where you want to cook to the point where you want to, the type of food you want to cook. Let's assume you're a caterer, and you want to prepare food for, you're managing an event on, I'm not saying some island areas are more than the other, but if you want to prepare food on the island and you want to prepare food in Ayobo, you know your market is different. Your target market is different. And in that case, as the product, as the caterer, you're actually a product manager. Your service, your product is catering. Maybe your brand name might be Yemisi and Sons catering services. But you need to be known for something, and the kind of food you're going to prepare in that event will be different from what you prepare in a different environment. It's just like preparing food in Ekiti. It's different from what you prepare if you are in Anambra. Even if you're, let me use my island and I both example now. If I'm going to do a catering service, I mean, depending on the budget, I'll make sure some things are available. Even things I know people might not, I mean, not necessarily that people might not like it, because if you make food on the island, you know, people that don't even know how to eat this food would definitely try to form. They'll say, this is what they are eating here. Or if you are catering for $10 now, you know that, let me cook everything. People that don't even know how to eat some food. There was time I went to a Mexican, we had an anniversary somewhere, and it was Mexican dish. I can't forget that name, chicken enchilada. I didn't like the food, but the name stuck in my head. I had to eat it because everybody was eating it. But then I'm just trying to say that whatever you do, you're managing a product in any aspect of your life. There's something you are building. Is that you see it as a project or you see it as something that you are building? Yeah, me, have you received this slide?
Yes, I have. Which number is it?
It's
So
different
that I
from this, right?
not total. I think it's the same.
Okay. Okay, just pop up that one then.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you want me to share the one you just shared?
Yes, the one I just shared. I think I have updates on that, and yeah, several
Okay.
updates on. Yeah.
All right, continue. I'll share as I'm done.
The same way we have okay, yeah, next slide then. So I mentioned something about product life cycle. And I said everything is in phases. When you make Coke now, the guys who made Coke now, they didn't just wake up and mix some things in a bottle and say, oh my God, it tastes like Coke. Or this thing is going to sell. They didn't know. Or any product you are making today, you don't know if it's going to sell. And you get to do something called, you get to ideate, you get to research. Your user research now might be in form of surveys. We have people in some I've received several survey forms from students. They'll try to test the market. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? That's basically part of ideation, and that's user research. For remote stages now, you get to send them forms, Google Forms. You get to try via Survey Monkey, and so on. Those are the things that happen in your ideation stage. Then you go to other phases. Maybe you get to do documentation. If it's a product within an organization, you get to do your documentation. You get to do various things. Then it gets to development. During development, you get to build the product. After the product is done, you then go to the next stage, which would be introducing it to the market. But before I touch a lot of all that topic, let's look at what we have here. And put in the chat box, can we arrange this in order of what we consider the life cycle? I think I know the first to be conception, and what should be the next thing?
But
So after conception, you have birth. What is next?
baby,
Baby,
All right. So we have baby. Then what next?
child,
child,
Then you have a child. After child, what next?
mm,
teenager,
teenager,
Adult.
Then you have young adult.
teenager,
You have middle
teenager.
age, and then you have pensioner.
not
So everything,
teenager.
yeah. So everything is in stages, and it's basically how everybody's life is. But then, if you are to coin out to be, where do you have most fun? Where do you have more fun? Or where do you have the most fun of your life? Or depending on the logic you want to use. Let me use fun now. I mean, conception, you don't have control. Baby, child, birth, you might not have control. But then, some people really enjoy their life as young adults. They have the best time of their life and everything. And the 10 years, let's assume it's from 20 to 30. It feels like 20 years. You look at some people, man, this guy is really bored though. And where was I when all these things were happening? And after that, I mean, it depends on some people really bored very young, and then maybe some things happen later on, or they go on low key, or they just keep balling all their lives. Whereas some people then save money, either they are paying, saving money, and so on. They don't enjoy get to get a Ferrari until they are 60 and 70. That's another phase. But then these things happen at different parts of our life, and it's all a cycle, and that's how products are as well. Give me next slide, please. So I've touched already the different phases required, and we have research, R&D, introduction, growth, maturity. If you look at the chart on the screen here, we have iPhone 7, iPhone 6, and iPhone 5. The typical life cycle for an iPhone is 1 year. And before you cut me there, let me just explain. You can see right now, I think the latest iPhone is iPhone 14. We all know the next iPhone is going to come out by September. Something is already cooking right now. It's that they're already in the R&D phase right now, so that they can meet up with September. September, what did they do? They introduce it into the market. If I'm to use what we have on this screen now, you have iPhone 5. iPhone 5 will probably be what we have as iPhone 13 or iPhone. So not iPhone 13 today. It's already in the decline. Nobody goes to the shop today now to buy a brand new iPhone 13. You probably want to buy the 14 because that's the latest. So 14 is at the growth phase right now. It's growing. It was just released 6 months ago or 7 months ago. So if you go to the market now, you typically buy your iPhone 14. But when it gets to August, you probably say, no, let me wait. I'll just buy the next phone. Whether it's 15 that they're gonna call it, you're gonna be calling it if you're gonna say, I'll just wait till the next one, till the next month to buy it. Some people buy it. I bought my last phone August, which was the next month before the new one was gonna come out. But then you have few people like me that, oh, you just needed a phone at that time. But most people, I can tell you if you bet it with Apple or if you can see Apple's numbers, you would see that between that June, July, August, it's a decline. People are just waiting for the next phone to see what is going to be the features and everything. And of course, before that time, you will start seeing features. Oh, we're gonna have a new camera and everything. So the old phone is already going into decline phase and so on. And that's how your products are. If I'm going to build a product now, let's assume I want to build a a website for and I'm looking for a simple product. Let's say I want to build a car. And the first thing I do is I don't just wake up because there's a Toyota car. I say no, or there's Tesla. I just want to build a car. I need to build the cars that work in Nigeria. I mean, the car that's suited for Nigeria might not be the ones that are suited for the UK. The UK uses right-hand driving. Nigeria uses left. So you need to do a bit of research and know, oh, do I want to build left and target which has a larger market? Or do I want to focus on UK first for a start for someone that's just starting a company? Those are the things you answer in your R&D. Who is the car for? Do I want to do a family car? Do I want to do an SUV? It's going to be an electric car. Most cars are going electric now. So if you're investing so much as a new company in a diesel car or a petrol engine, you most likely not get investors. So those are the things you do in your research phase. Once you get through the research, you can even go out to ask people what do they want. There are some products there that after they finish building it, they send it to people to use it for free and give feedback. Most of your phones go through that phase. They send it to people, they get it for free, they get to test it and give feedback to Apple, feedback to Google to see how it looks like. Those are all research and development. Once you are beyond that phase, the next stage is called introduction, sorry, or launch. This is when you see Apple, Google, Microsoft, they put on their big screen and start demonstrating what the application can do because that's when you get to sell the product. You must be doing something new, something fancy for you. And the next thing is growth. At that time, a lot of people must have pre-ordered already. But we expect that after that day, people start buying a lot. Oh, between now and 6 months, we expect to make huge sales. I'm still using the Apple 1 year life cycle. After that, the next thing is maturity. Maturity is where you get to, and you are not really going down, but you're just there. A lot of products are in maturity phase now, like Coca-Cola. They're all in maturity phase. So they're not going down. And what they keep doing to keep them in the market is you just keep rebranding. That's why you must keep rebranding products. You can't use the same Coca-Cola bottle. Sorry, someone say something. Okay. So you keep rebranding. Otherwise, new products will come into the market and yours will go down. Do we hope we know that clubs in Lagos, they all have life cycles. And I don't know, maybe should I say it's 2 years or 3 years, but you notice that these clubs must change their name or change their appearance or repaint something with every 3 years. There used to be one club called Club 10, there used to be another one, but you must rebrand and you must understand your product that much especially when this happens usually when your product is in maturity. If you go to Adjust and all these places now, if you open a club there, people trooping there. The old ones are still there. Those old ones now, it means people are tired of them. They're in their maturity phase. They need to do something else. They need to either do, oh, we have something new now in our club, we offer this now in our club, and people will come back there again. But then there's a life cycle, and you need to know where you are, where your product is. And that's when you get to rebrand, you get to repackage. We have so many products. I'm sure if I ask everybody now, we'll be able to mention products that have been repackaged to make people, to give new people new appeal. And we can also do that, speaking to change appearance. We can also look for new markets. One of them would be do we know Lucozade used to be used in hospitals? This what we drink now as energy drink. It used to be in hospitals to give people energy, but then Lucozade wanted to make more money, and they needed to rebrand it and make sure it is suitable for the general public to use as energy drink, and not just for hospitals. But the original Lucozade was made for people in hospital. I think when you are sick, that's supposed to boost your energy to be able to go leave the hospital on time and so on. Another thing is to find new market for the product. So if you are selling in Nigeria now, you might want to say, oh, what if we expand to Ghana and see if they're going to like the product and so on. So that way your product, instead of going into decline, it goes back into maturity, or you might even start the cycle afresh if you are going to a fresh market. And oh yeah, somebody said Indomie. So you see Indomie will keep rebranding, they'll keep changing their wrapper. Another good example would be who did this thing? Um, I'll remember the name. I remember the name at the time. But then you just need to keep your product out there. If it's going into decline, I mean, once it declines, and that's it. Some people go from decline and introduce a new feature, and it comes back. I'm trying to think of a bank. Yeah, we have the old generation banks. We have First Bank. We have Union Bank. There was a time nobody was going to talk about those two banks anymore. But then First Bank did something different, which Union Bank didn't do. And now First Bank is still a bank that you want. It's still a bank. You won't call it old people's bank in quotes. It used to be called Old People's Bank with Union Bank and the likes. But now they rebranded, they changed what they wanted to feel. There was a time they were campaigning to say they were the students bank and so on. They released new products. And that's what made them relevant in the market today. Otherwise, people are ready to run to the new banks, then Access Bank and the likes were new Access Diamond and Co. But then you need to know where your product is and what you need to do because it determines what you are going to do. If you are growing, you just need to keep customers, be releasing campaigns, like subtle campaigns on how to use, where to use. When you're in maturity, you are selling, you've gotten to your peak. You're probably not getting new customers. You are looking at retention at that time, how to keep your customers using your app and so on. There's a comment here. Oh, is it only at the decline stage that rebranding is needed? If the product is still at maturity stage, is it cost effective to rebrand? Yes. Coca-Cola has been in maturity stage forever. So you don't need to wait. A competition comes in, you need to rebrand. You don't need to wait for your products, your numbers to start going down. I think it was Coca-Cola I was trying to remember. So you notice that I think Fanta, Coca-Cola, Fanta, they all have different flavors and so on. Somebody started a new brand. Instead of you waiting for them to kill your product, you introduce a new flavor as well. Something that happened like that is, even though they are two different products, DSTV and StarTimes. StarTimes came out into the market to say, we have a cheaper cable TV, no dish required. It's just an antenna, easy to use. You can install it yourself. I remember when I got StarTimes, I installed it myself. I couldn't install DSTV myself, and it was cheaper. I just plugged it, ran the cable to my house, and it was working fine. And DSTV came out with their own as well. They released Go TV. And that was almost like the end of start times for a lot of people. A lot of people switched to Go TV immediately at that point. So you don't need to wait for competition to sweep you over. You need to always bring out something new. You won't be rebranding in your growth stage now because at that time you are still new to the market. So this thing happened during maturity and decline. It's just the realistic thing to do at that time. Give me next slide. So I'm gonna use a 1 hour. So these are examples I have here. Okay, I already talked about this. Okay, because I'm not the one controlling this slide, I didn't even. Next slide, I already talked about Lucozade. So these are examples. This one is a product that looked for other use cases. Next slide, please. This is also sneakers and Cadbury egg. I don't know if most people know this one. So this is also rebranding, repackaging, looking for other use cases or developing a wide range. This is the ones on the right are rebranding. Get me next time. So as a rider on, this is just riding on what we learned yesterday. We hear product manager and we hear product owner. And as a product manager, you can, I think, these nomenclatures keep coming on, and I won't be surprised if we hear something new again in the next maybe 3-4 years. I would say maybe 10 years ago, I don't know if there was something called product owner or some of the technologies we use today or nomenclatures we use to describe so many job roles today. But then, product owner itself is a role in Scrum. And while product manager is you see people say, hey, I work as a product manager, I work as a this. But then if you're a product owner, if you're a product manager, you can work as a product owner in a Scrum team. So the guys that brought in the title product owner or the role product owner are those that use Scrum. Even though it's almost, if I see any job opening now that is telling me that they need a product owner for so and so, I'll just assume they use Scrum because that role is tied to Scrum methodology or Scrum framework, even though most people use it these days. But then in summary, in general, basically, whichever role in the product space, the job description is determined by the organization. I had a job role at the time and I thought I was going to resume as a product owner, and the kind of way I started the job was, no, we need to change this, we need to work on this process, we should be developing this way, we need to do this and so on. And they said, no, that's not what we brought you here for. You need to tell us how to sell this product and so on. Okay. Okay, I need to wear my product manager cap then. And product manager, in general, I mean, if we're trying to compare them and look for differences, I'll say product manager will be focused on a product that is being sold or a service, basically. Oh, this is what this product does. How do we sell it? How much are we going to make? What cost are we putting into it? Whereas a product owner will be focused on outcomes, basically. So you see, especially abroad, you have so many roles for product owner, and it doesn't mean it's focused on a product. You might be working around the process. There might just be a product owner around delivery processes. You see job roles that tell you we're looking for a product owner for delivery services. They just want someone to come and look at that whole process and make it more effective and so on. But then, in general, it's all determined by the organization. But what you should know is the product owner title is from Scrum. And but if you're a product manager, you can wear different hats. You can be anything at different times. It all depends on the organization, the job of the organization that you are to determine or decide what the role would be. If they want you to work as a product manager, or they want you to work as a product owner. And give me next slide, please. Another question I know, I think that was the fourth question that we got here, is what's the difference between a product manager and a project manager? I think this is also this is a question I like to see, because there was a time I was okay, do we still need this? Do we still need that? You got to a point that I was asking that kind of question, like, what do we need? Do we still need product managers or do we still need project managers? What's the difference in their roles and so on? But then, just like the name is, or the job titles are, a product manager manages a product, and a project manager manages projects. And if you're a product manager, you're probably going to go through the phases I've said, the cycle where you're managing whatever you're managing. You're going through ideation, you're going to do user research, you're going to work with your designers, you're going to work with your developers, you're going to work in building that product. But as a project manager, I mean, within that product, there are going to be many projects, if we can put it that way. And your job will be to initiate a project, you plan the project, you ensure the project is executed properly, and you monitor along the way, and you close. So there are two different kind of cycles. A project can even end after you've gone live, but the product does not end at that point. You need to ensure the product is successful. You need to ensure, oh, how do we pilot the product? What is the feedback from the market? That is a part of your own product phase. And what else do we have here? Yes, as a product manager, you are focused on market research. You are thinking about how the product will be a success, whereas a project manager is thinking about how the project would be a success. I don't know who asked that question earlier. Does this explain it to you? Okay, I know someone asked this question earlier, and I said I'm going to attend to it later in the session. All right, Yemi, next class, please. Next slide here. So here we're going to be speaking about the skills required to be a product manager. And you don't need to have everything at once. We're all growing, and it's important to identify where you need to grow and where you are lacking. But to be a successful product manager, you need to have a bit of all these things, or you are working on improving yourself in this direction. Yes, you must be able to take the lead at different instances, because you need to be able to motivate your team. As a product manager now, you need to be able to talk to your engineers. Oh, this is what we need to do. Why they are even feeling sad or don't want to do anything, you need to be able to motivate them to say, yes, I know you can do this. Come on, this is what we do, blah, blah, blah. If you need to get management to do something to get the job going, you need to engage management. You need to be able to influence. I think we mentioned part of that yesterday. Influence without, you are not their boss, but you need to be able to create that level of influence to get people to do their job, because the product must succeed. Stakeholder management, your job is not to be fighting people. You need to be able to come down to tell people, yes, I understand what the problem is, to get people to understand that this is for their own good. Because sometimes you might be building a settlement platform for the settlement team, and the settlement team are the ones giving you the problem. So you need to let them know the importance of what you are doing and how it will benefit them. And where there are issues, you just need to be able to manage those stakeholders appropriately. Stakeholder management is a topic on its own. Each of these things are topics on their own. Stakeholder management, conflict management. Sometimes you need to work with two people. If I'm to use the settlement example again, you have the settlement officer who you are building a solution for, and you have the engineer, and nobody's ready to give in. This one is not ready. Probably the engineer is talking to this person somehow. You need to be that bridge that settles this thing and make sure what goes on. So you're technically a servant leader as well. And of course, you need to have empathy. One thing I always encourage people to do is, product managers to do it. Yeah, get to know people personally. Get to know your engineers. Get to know people you work with, your stakeholders personally. Whichever way possible. That way, if you can get to their soft spots, people get to deliver what you want. And of course, we can't. Communication is very important. You need to be able to put in your documentation in place, communicate to all stakeholders where there are changes. If you're going to if you're working on a product and you have different stakeholders, there's something we call stakeholder metrics as well. So you need to know who is accountable for this, who needs to be involved, who is responsible. That way you know how you get them involved, where there are changes, who do you need to notify. It will be pointless if you build a product and you're about to go live, and people are saying, "Oh no, I didn't agree with this. This is not what I agreed on. This is not what we signed off on." It will be bad communication. So you needed to have, where there are changes, you need to go back to people to say, "Oh, this is the reason why I'm making this change. Hope you agree with it." I mean, get them to understand why this is being done. If you've agreed to build a flying car before, and now you can't build a flying car, probably because the technology is not available, you need to explain to all of them. Otherwise, you might end up building that product and it will never go live. Product positioning. You have a product on ground, and it's probably in the wrong market. You need to be able to know there's something called the 7 Ps. You need to be able to know why are we not selling? Why is this product not selling? Do we have the right price? What is the competition doing? Do a bit of competitive analysis or market research. Get to know what the market is saying on the product. Then you can now, all these are under product positioning. Is our price okay? Are some people cheaper? And it might even be, how do you want to get to the market? Oh, there's something called blue ocean. There's something called red ocean. If you look at the likes of Open, how did they get into the market? Oh, they know that the market is, I mean, in Lagos, I'll say it's saturated. Oh, let us just give out everything for free. And that's what they did. Everybody downloaded OPay and everybody was moving on with it. And their goal was to bring people on board. So there must be a strategy when you are building your product, how you want to penetrate into the market. But that's a topic on its own. Customer feedback loops. When you release a product, like your product doesn't need to be a whole new product. It might just be a feature on your mobile app or a feature on your website. You need to have a way of getting feedback from people and to know how it's behaving. There are other apps that let you know that as well. If you use any of this analytics app, it will let you know where people are dropping off. Maybe your onboarding flow is people just download the app, they try to onboard, and they start dropping off somewhere. You need to know where they're dropping off. There are tools to do that as well. And creativity, of course, as a product manager, you're expected to be someone that thinks very well, that is innovative. You will be able to solve problems. You must be strategic and all that. So there's a lot of expectation on product managers. Next slide, please. Okay, the next one I have here is functional skills. And this basically goes through the phases that I've explained earlier. We can call it R&D. We can also call it discovery. This is where you get to decide what your product should be and how your product, what kind of product you want to build. This is where you do the UI and this is where you did documentation basically of what you want to build. And market research, user research. User research can be, it's just to know the number of people you want to do. And there are different tools for that as well. It can be done remotely, it can be done physically. I want to expect that you want to build a solution for market people in the market now, like Idumota, and you're saying you want to send them survey to their phone and everything. You practically need to go to the market yourself and see how they do. If you're going to build a loan service to compete with Dapo, you need to be on ground to do that. So that's user research, market research, product analytics, problem discovery. What I try to do is I ensure whatever I'm building, I'm solving a problem. I think it's very easy. I try to identify what the problem is, to say, what are we really solving? And where do we make money? And those are the two questions I try to answer most of the time. And there's something called Lean Canvas that you can use for a lot of these things. It's not part of this slide, which you get to put in what are your costs, what is the competitive advantage over the competition? What is the advantage over the competition? What is your price? What problem are you? What is the problem in the market, and what solution are you providing? These are all the questions you address under discovery, and you get to document depending on the kind of tool you use in documentation, and then you go to design. So after you finish your documentation, there is usually an interface to where the users will interact or how you want the users to interact. Like I said, all these things are major topics on its own. User journey mapping is a whole topic, is a whole training on its own. So how do you want your users to? Today we all download apps. We go to Facebook now. We go to Instagram. But back end, some people actually sat down to say, "Oh, this is what we want people to see. When you log in, this is what we want you to see." And they put the arrow to say the next thing. What do we want users to do next? You put in your username and password. You click on submit. Should it be submit? Should it be login? When you get to the landing page, what do we want you to see? I remember there was a time Instagram changed their interface, and I think when they were converting it to a marketplace, sort of, they had to move things around a lot. And people, I think people took a while, I think like a month to adjust. Probably a month, I wasn't seeing any complaint again or hearing any complaint again. But then people are sitting down. Some guys will tell you on your mobile phone, this is then there's a touch map, so you know where the finger can reach. You want people to be able to use your app with just one hand. They don't need, so you likely not put your icons at the top left corner of your mobile phone. You want to put them where the thumb can reach, because most people use one hand. But then we know we have left-handed people as well. So it all depends on how you want to, how many people, who you want to satisfy, or how you want to balance it, basically. And I just moved to delivery. Delivery is where maybe bulk of the work is. Everything is bulk, basically. But then delivery is about how are you going to, using the same term, deliver the solution. You've done your documentation, you've done your design. Now, how do we want to build this? How do we want to ensure we have the right product, we are building the right product? And then you talk about prioritization. I want to build an app, like the Baxi app. Which one should come first? You can't build everything, which is why everything is agile now. You don't need to build a whole app. You want to build an app to compete with, you're starting up a bank and you want to release an application to look like, let's say, Access Bank. You don't need to start off and build the exact same thing. You can declare, release your features in bits and say, what are the main things you want your customers to see? I just want my customers to see their balance. I think that's what a mobile app, a banking app should do, see their balance and be able to transfer and buy vast services. That's all. Those should be your focus. Other people have flights, insurance, and everything, but those are just add-ons. So you focus on the things that you know will benefit your customers the most, and that's why you need to prioritize. And there are different techniques for prioritizing as well. Validating, this is just talking about testing, go-to-market strategy. How do you want to go to the market? I mentioned part of it. What kind of market are you even going to? How do you want to get there, basically? And then what is your plan for sales? Imagine you are building products and the sales team are not even aware of your new feature. The support team are not even aware of your new feature. You are building the product for yourself, because I've had instances when you call customer service of a bank and you are looking at the product on your phone, but the contact center is telling you that they are not aware of it. Or maybe it's something you worked on at the time and you have a contact inside and they say, oh, this is what you should do, but the contact center is not aware. That is failure on product as well. Because everybody should be aware, you should ensure people are trained so that whenever any customer calls in, people know about it and they're able to support the product effectively. And then framework. What framework are you using to deliver? I just talked about agile is now. You don't need to release everything at a time. Go in bits, deliver in phases, and let people always have something new to use. And instead of waiting for, if you wait for the whole app to be built, by the time you are releasing it in 1 year, I'm sure that design that you have on your app will have been obsolete. You probably have to start again and do something else. Yeah, okay. Next slide, please. Sorry, I bumped into 4 o'clock. I said I wasn't going to go beyond 4 o'clock. And here we are on tools. This is the tags you have here are almost a replica of what you had on the previous screen. But this just tells you tools that you might need to be familiar with. What I would tell myself is that, oh, do I know one of each of these to, am I familiar with any of each of these to, then I know I'm fairly okay. if I'm to do discovery, like I said, discovery is basically for finding out information, trying to know position, trying to know what your product should do, trying to find out the problem you are solving. Is there even a problem at all? And so on. So you want to use any of this. I mean, you can always go to the field to do the survey on paper and paper, depending on your market. But then you want to use any of these tools in the age that we have now. SurveyMonkey, Google Forms, Oddjob, they're all surveying tools to get feedback from people. And in terms of design, this is where you're working on your user journey map, or you're designing the actual app on Figma, wireframes on Balsamic, and user journey on Miro, and probably doing your canvas on Miro as well. And I love Miro, FigJam, they're all collaborative tools where everybody can bring in their inputs and so on. So you want to make sure you're familiar with one of these tools as well. In a typical interview, oh, you just tell them, yes, I know Miro. I use Miro for collaboration and everything. Oh, yeah, that's all. So it's important to be able to mention one of these things during interview sessions as well. 1 second. And in terms of delivery, Jira, you have Monday.com. This is dependent on the organization. Personally, I've used Jira, ClickUp, and Trello. And I've not had the time to use. I've only read on Asana myself, Aha, and Monday.com. I don't really like Monday.com. But then these are all delivery tools to put in your user stories, how you want it to be, the technique of writing user stories as well. It's a whole topic on its own. There are different patterns. There's something called, the one I really like is the BDD, behavior driven design. You get to, it basically details the times I've used that format. I've not had any queries from the engineers. My product always goes out well, and the interactions, the back and forths are reduced. It was reduced a lot with those with that format. It's called BDD. And but you can basically use any of these tools to achieve these things. Jira, Trello, ClickUp, and I've used Monday.com as well on my own, but not on a real project. And for analytics, you have Mixpanel, you have Tableau, you have Amplitude, you have Pendo, Power BI. Amplitude and Pendo, even Mixpanel will help you track. If you plug it into your application, it can help you track where users are dropping off, and they give you real-time feedback to know where you need to improve your application. So these apps really work well. And Power BI Tableau, you can use it to fetch data yourself and play around with a lot of information. You know what customers are using on your platforms and so on. You don't need to know all these things. These are basically different faces, but these are different caps you can wear as a product manager. And for some of them, you just want to know a bit of it, because you get to talk to different people and you want to have an idea of what they are speaking to. So if you're going to be working on a project, or you're developing a product that's going to be cloud-based, it will be nice for you. You know, if you know about AWS or GCP, it's an advantage for you. So when the engineer is telling you that this thing is going to take me 2 weeks, you can tell that guy in Alpha, now this thing is not more, it's just to push this thing, it's just to do this and so on. And it tells you, oh, yeah, okay, don't worry, 1 week, and you move on. So you want to have an idea, not necessarily that you're a designer, but you want to know how Figma works, to say at least you can prototype and so on. Even so, when the designer tells you it's going to take 3 months, you say, guy, this thing is ready. It's ready. Somebody has done it before. It's just for you to move things around and so on. And then on documentation, the popular one would be Confluence and any of the Microsoft tools. I forgot to include Google Sheets here and Google Tools as well. So you can use Confluence for documentation. That's in the Jira family, the Atlassian family, sorry. So when you get Jira, you most likely have Confluence as well. Confluence is the documentation, while Jira is working on the actual project or delivery of the project. And other icons you have here, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and you know, for every of these things, you have a replica on Google as well, Google Sheets, and Google Docs, and I don't know, Google Slides. Yeah. Um, I think that is where we round up. I'll just ignore other since my slide didn't come up here. Any questions? Yes, yes. Please feel free to ask a question.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the class.
Thank you,
I
Ma.
must say I really enjoy it. Over time, I've been trying to see if I can take some courses on my own on product management. But in between, I get stuck and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go to. But I joined this class very late. I think I'll be able to go back to the replay. And then with what you've given us, can we proceed for an internship after this whole thing?
Well, this is an introduction, so I have to say that first. And it will be nice for you to read further, even if you don't want to go to any school. I believe in studying because I do a lot of YouTube and the likes. And so it will be nice for you to read further. And internship, depending on the organization, it's a place to learn. So any organization should be able to take you as long as you have interest in it and so on. But make sure read up about these things, whichever phase, whichever area you want to focus on, read about it. Like I would expect you to know product life cycle because those are the questions that are common in interview. And even if you don't know how to use Jira Confluence, know that these are the tools that are used for product management and so on. If you can, on that slide that you have tools, if you can actually know a bit of, I'm not saying knowing how to use the tools, but if you can be familiar with what the tools are, and it's up to you to start learning, it's a different thing. But I think internship depends on the organization and what the organization wants. And
Thank you, sir.
thank you, Ma.
And we always get in touch with you over time after this.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Are there any more questions, or do we have comments from? Okay, yes, you can go ahead, please. Real one, you can go ahead, please.
Okay, yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Real One, and so I've worked as a project manager for 4 years in an
All right.
interior design space, and like I've been meaning to transit to tech. So I I don't know how to go about it really. I don't know if what I needed is course. Though I've started a course on Udemy. I think that was yesterday after the Scrum session. So and then so I had a meeting with like a mentor who said I can't get a role as a project.
Real one, I'm not hearing you anymore. Real one, I can't hear you. But then, if I'm to speak to the part I've heard, anybody can get into the tech space, and I know a lot of people that have transited. Anybody, you being a project manager is even an advantage for you. Some people in project space call themselves tech people as well, so it's an advantage. Project manager is also a tech role because you are basically familiar with the processes, and that's why I mentioned it as part of my presentation. It's just to know the differences, and you need to know the part of tech in quotes that you want to go to as well. I don't know if I have some people that can give comments here as well. Gabriel Yemi, he might also give advice on that as well.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much. Right. Just give me a second. I'm on multiple devices. Can you hear
Yeah,
me now?
we good.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
yes.
Really, just to answer his question, and just as you've said, a lot of people are transitioning. Uh, like for someone like me, I transitioned, right? It wasn't difficult because of the background I have and the people that I surrounded myself with. For an example, now Dapo was available, right, to answer some questions at any time, or maybe, you know, it's just to ask questions. And another question people get to ask me a lot is, "Oh, I want to go into products. Which should it be? Should it be product or should it be projects?" I try not to enforce, but I tend to advise that just go for products, right? People are just building products like every day and continuously and all of that. And people feel more comfortable to say, I'm a product manager now based on market demand or requests. So there's a reason why I tend sort of put it just what Dapo has put together. It's honestly, if I get to, let's say I'm trying to transition and I just get my hands on this recording, I will literally pass the interview because anything they will literally ask, right, from the product life cycle to the functional skills and to the tools, right, is just what you literally need to get yourself started with. And he has done a fantastic job with all this breakdown from discovery to design to delivery and to framework. And good thing for those that joined the class yesterday, for the framework, we spoke a lot on the agile delivery, right? On the last part, because a lot of people use the agile framework literally globally, a lot, 90%. So looking at discovery, what you need to know about user research, honestly, there's sort of English and there's things you can do. So read up, even if this is a course you paid for or whatever, you still need to read up. You still need to do a catch up. You still need to look at all of these things. Yeah, not to talk much. I think that's about it. Over to you, sir.
All right. Any more? Do we have questions? Any more questions? Sorry, I bumped into your
Yeah,
time.
I have a question.
IMD.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm
Good
sorry,
afternoon.
I joined it like 30 minutes into it, so I don't know if this question has already been um answered or if it has already been discussed. So in terms of product management, can you recommend like should I call it schools or courses that one can take to be a certified product management to be a certified product manager that you're aware of?
Okay, in terms of schools, I mean, it's schools will be complicated to say because, of course,
Not
I do
school as
not.
in university, like all these tech schools, boot camps, or whatever they call themselves.
Yeah, within Nigeria, I might maybe I'll leave that to Yemi and Gabriel to be able to speak to them. But I do a lot of online courses instead. I do Udemy, I do LinkedIn Learning, and but I don't know. Yemi, do you know else? I know there is this product school as well, but I don't know if it's physical. But I know there are multiple product schools as well in Nigeria.
Yeah. Well, just like you said, to me, I literally believe you need not go to a school like a uni or to go and do masters in product, so to speak, before you can be a product manager or to start performing as a product manager. You can just start taking learning from Udemy, which is not costly. You can even get some for 5,000 naira. I know they do a lot of discounts and they try to teach well. Try to get a mentor. Try to watch a lot of YouTube videos. They literally teach everything on YouTube now, right? Yeah, that's it. But for school, you can try productschool.com. Not like it's a school, but literally just the way they go, they train you, give you certificates, something like that.
Correct.
Oh yeah, someone there. Okay, Gabriel, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's there. We had a couple of the yeah. There's Utiva. Oh yes, how will I forget Utiva? So we have Walor Capital. I hope I pronounce it well. We have Walor Capital. We have Trefford. We have Utiva. I mean, if you go on LinkedIn, you get to go across, see these different schools at different times. Utiva, I know it's very popular as well. Trefford, I've seen so many sessions being hosted on Trefford and Walor Capital as well.
Okay. Okay, that was John, but I think he had a network glitch. Hi, Dapo.
Hi, can you hear me now,
Okay.
please?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, someone said, can this do for a person to gain job? So this is actually a session. So I'm really hoping people got a lot from this. And but then it's really about what you've gotten. This is an introductory class. Most of the things we've mentioned there require you to either go and read further. I know Imeyreach is trying to put in probably subsequent classes as well to say, but then this thing require a lot of logistics and planning and so on. But then user research is actually a job in some places. User research is a job on its own. There's some people that you employ them as UX researcher. They are UI designers. You have people that just come in as agile coach. I mean, there are so many things you can do in this whole space, in the product space. You can come in to say, and you can also be a scrum master. And there are so many places for you to put yourself in, but you need to be certain of first where you are going to. If you are going to be a product manager in general and just want to go through the ideation, most of the interviews you get to be asked questions like, oh, which product have you managed end to end before? And they use that to gauge where they want to put you to see if you manage a product throughout the life cycle from ideation to decline. Or what did you do in this? Give us an example. Some people will ask you questions like, give us any product and tell us how you want to improve it, and so on. Some people come up with tools. Which tools are you familiar with? Are you familiar with the agile? Which framework? Which delivery approach you prefer? Do you want have you used agile? Have you used waterfall? What do you like most about agile and so on? So to confirm that you're prepared, you need to probably, like I said, I do YouTube a lot. If I'm going to attend an interview in a week now, I'll probably spend the whole week just navigating around. It might be things I already know, but then I want to be sure that there are no new things out there. And I love to attend interviews. I tell people to attend interviews, even if it's just for the fun of it. You might be comfortable where you are, but you want to know what is out there so that you can also improve on yourself. Go to YouTube, just type interview questions for product managers, or go online. Not necessarily YouTube. Go online, Google, just type interview questions for product managers, and ensure that you're able to answer those questions. And sometimes it's not that difficult. It's just to get in and get to a feel of it. But this is an introductory class, so there are more to this. There's a whole lot more to this. Prioritization alone. Okay, under delivery, you have prioritization. There are different types of prioritization techniques. One of them is a Moscow that people use. Oh, must have, could have, won't have. What's the last one? I think there's one more.
Could have.
Could have, yes. So you need to now know, oh, I want to build a website for a cinema. What is the must have? What is could have? So must have is what you must go live with. What the customers, what is actually solving the problem. Could have would be, oh yes, if I bring this cost, if I introduce this here, it will be the product will be appealing to more people. And so on. If you have anything that would have, it means the future enhancement. Yes, we are fine with this. The other one can come in at a later stage. There's also RISE, even the user story map is also another technique. And so each of these titles are a topic on their own that you might need to go and read further on. There are various go-to-market strategies. There are various testing approach. There are the design tools as well. If you're a UI designer, there are various design tools. There's Sketch, there's Figma. Most people use Figma and Adobe XD anyway. And there are various things you still need to read up after this. That's what I'm just trying to say. So, but this is not a course. This is an introduction class. An introductory class, yeah. Oh, thank you, Dapo. Okay, since there are no more, we'll just, Yemi, you have comments or do we call it a day?
Okay, Jennifer Richard said, I have a question. Jennifer, do you want to speak or type?
I'll speak. Hi. Thank you so much, Dapo and Yemi, for this class. My question is, if you're to hire someone on the spot, what is that one thing you would see on their CV and then decide, oh, this is my person?
Okay. Yemi, do you want to take that? Or should I go?
No, you're the trainer.
I don't believe in, for me, I don't even look at CVs. Maybe because I've not had to go through 100 CVs for a role. Sorry, my co-facilitator is there. So I've not had to, maybe because I've not had to focus on maybe 100 CVs, 200 CVs as an employer. But then I really don't. The people I've gotten so far, what I would rather do is get to speak with all of them because people come up with CVs at different times now, and but then if I'm to speak to specifics, I would like to see your product experience to see what you've actually built. Because yes, there are some CVs I've seen, and I said, no, this person does not have product experience. I'm looking for someone that is experienced for a senior product management role. And so I want to see your product experience, really, what you have achieved. And it all depends on the role. So if I want you as a PO, yes, I want to see what you have built. Clearly that you have an understanding of agile delivery approach. I want to see what you have built, basically. Talk about the product. If it's a mobile solution, name the solution and what your role is on that product, basically. And that's why for the UK, they'll most likely tell you, oh, say I did this, what you did while in that role. I mean, some people might just be there to participate or as observers, but you want to really highlight what your role was, what you play, what part you play to deliver that solution, no matter how small it is. Jennifer, is that fine?
Yes, thank you.
Someone raised their hands, and I think the hands are down. All right. Thanks very much. I said 1 hour. We ended up using 1 hour, 30 minutes. If there are no further questions, I think we can call it a day till we see probably another session.
Before we call it a day, thank you so much. Just appreciate our trainer. Please let's clap for our trainer. Use the emoji. However, let's appreciate him. He's a very busy person, and like I mentioned, really honestly, let's say I have no idea of what product is, and I'm getting to see this. I literally have a sense of direction of what I need to do. Like I've seen the soft skills, the functional skills, and the tools I need to build on. So that even if I'm searching for any course online, I'll have to check that, oh, do they have these things I'm actually looking for? So you won't just jump and sign up for any course or anything. So I want to believe we have a sense of direction. And I know we will still do more of this in a sense that now we have a WhatsApp group, right? So it will just be a build up. it won't be we won't be coming to say we are doing any other introductory session. We'll probably just pick any of these functional tools to speak on. And same for the Scrum class we had yesterday, which is under the framework Agile Delivery. If we're going to be having another session, it will have to be under maybe speaking on any of the events, right? Because we've already done the introduction about what Scrum is. Same for products. All right, for every Imeyreach team on the call, thank you guys so much. It's been a lot of work, and I'm glad it finally happened. Yeah, closing remark from the trainer, then we're good.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Imeyreach, Yemi, for this session. It's been a good experience. Thanks everybody for participating, and yes, I hope we're gonna have more of these sessions. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Take care. Bye bye. Bye everyone.
I said that I don't understand what is it wrong, but not Coca-Cola. I don't know what to do.
Our co-presenter, you're welcome to. Thank you too for giving that the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, I'll drop the slides in the WhatsApp group or the recording, one of them.